And our deen what? Goes against it. Everybody understand this? So this hadith here is not agreed upon by the ulama with regards to washing up naked. Hadith proves that Musa alayhi salam did it, and the Prophet did not criticize him for that. Everybody understand it? So that's what we call mahallu shahid, the highlighting point from the hadith. Everybody clear with this or not? The main point from the hadith. Everybody got this or not? Everybody understand this? So you're studying a book, you're studying a chapter, you're studying a hadith. Before you go to this faida, Musa alayhi salam was strong, kada, you want to focus on what? Mahallu shahid, the main fiqh point from the hadith. Or if you're studying kitab of iman, kitab tawheed, the main point that proves what the author is saying. The permissibility of swearing by other than Allah. The permissibility of slaughtering for other than Allah. The impermissibility for making tawaf, except for the Kaaba. The permissibility of, everybody understand this? You always want to focus on the what? Main point from the hadith first and foremost. Then after you discuss that, you branch off. You stafad, you stumbat, we take from the hadith this, we take from the hadith that, the virtue of Musa, etc. Everybody got this or not? Everybody understand this or not? Clear, Yusuf? Khayr, inshallah. So that's the main highlighting point from the what? From the hadith. As far as the other fawaid, this hadith shows the virtue of Musa alayhi salam, and that a true man is shy. A strong man is shy. And you don't have to be a coward or a weakling or gay or sissy or weak or soft to be shy, as it is promoted in our American culture. You have to be a sissy, a softy to be shy. Everybody understand this? Or even worse than that, if you're merciful, some people, they look at you as weak. It's not weakness, it's strength to be merciful. I can crush you if I wanted to, but I'm going to be merciful. That's virtue. That's what? That's virtue. And then other times in which it is weakness, in which you do have to do what's necessary. Everybody understand this? And we've spoken this before, the issue of shyness in the religion. If shyness comes before you doing what you have to do in the deen, of wajib, of mustahab, then it's not shyness anymore, it's cowardice. Everybody understand this? You're too shy to give the khutbah, but you have to give the khutbah. Now it's not shyness, it's now cowardice now. It's mandatory for you to do it. Everybody understand this? If you're with your wife and you're too shy to be with your wife or to expose yourself in front of your wife or do what you have to do, now that's not good anymore. And that's a deficiency in your manhood. That's a what? Everybody understand this? However, if it's brothers, subhanAllah, back up. What's the matter, Mufti? What you hiding? I'm not hiding nothing. Just, back up. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing what? It doesn't mean you're soft. He said Musa was what? A beast. He was strong. He was powerful. He beat up the rock. He left marks in the rock. Yeah, and still he wanted to what? I'm not washing up with these guys. No. You let them be naked and look at each other. Not me. So it shows the virtue of Musa alayhi salam, and also shows us that it does not mean that you're soft if you're what? Shy. And no one should be looking at your private area except for your wife. No one should look at your private area. You should not be comfortable being in front of another man naked. A woman should not be comfortable being another sister, another woman naked. That's not okay. That's not from Islam. Everybody understand this? There's no public bathhouse in Islam. You just go into the pool of water and wash up. It's disgusting. Let alone the fact of the whole entire Western culture with regards to sports, with regards to wrestling, the Colosseum, gladiator. That's where this whole entire thing comes from. Fraternities, as you said. The horn, the ram, the goat. He said what? Stand out from the rest of the herd. Everybody understand this? Alpha, Kappa. These whole fraternities are based off of pagans. Mushrikeen, stone worshippers, fire worshippers, moon worshippers. People worship constellations. And they were also wrestlers and fighters and combatants. And they were also, waliyadhu billah, many of them, I don't know, can't say all of them, many of them were homosexuals. It was a known practice. Let alone people who molested boys. Caesar and this one and that one, this great conqueror and thinker was a boy molester. They slept with boys. They had little boys as their slaves and their servants that they had sex with. They were strong, big, brawny, brolic men, wielding weapons, conquering nations, and at the same time, they enjoyed little boys. This is where the whole foundation of team and shower and washing up together, this is where it comes from. So there's something to be mindful of. When we start talking about sports and boxing and wrestling, you got to be mindful of this. Not saying it's impermissible for Muslims to learn how to box. Not saying that a Muslim can't learn how to wrestle, because we have hadith on that. Not saying it's permissible to learn how to do certain things. and taking certain things from what? Non-Muslims that are beneficial and pure, but just being mindful that the whole entire Western culture is a system. It's a system. And you can't just enjoy one thing and necessarily get rid of the rest of the what? The system. It's all connected. Everybody got this? It's all what? It's all connected. Nakedness is connected. Waliyadu billah. طيب. The question is, it says, كانت بنو إسرائيل يغتسلون عراتا ينظر بعضهم إلى بعض. The people of Israel, they used to wash up and they were naked in front of each other. Was that permissible for them to do? Or was it haram? Everybody understand the question? Was it something that was from their sharia? But Musa alayhi salam, because he was a prophet and a messenger, Kalim ar-Rahman, he was above that. It was unsuitable. It didn't suit his status. But the rest of the followers could wash up naked and see each other. Was that the case? Or was it something that they were doing that was wrong? And from their disobedience to Musa, and then he removed himself from it. Which of the two? You think it was wrong? Sean.
I just don't answer that Musa prohibited them, or
the hadith doesn't state that Musa talked to them. It just says that he what?
He was alone, but
he went away from Fadda.
if there was something wrong, he wouldn't have just left them
And talked to the stone.
by himself.
He wouldn't have done what?
He wouldn't just leave them to be disobeying Allah.
Khair inshallah? Perhaps. Could be this, could be what? Could be that. Another concept from this hadith is the stupidity and the foolishness of these people. They're stupid and foolish. The only reason why he doesn't wash up with us is because he has a scrotal hernia. Something's wrong with his private part. He doesn't want us to see. They were thinking small instead of thinking on a bigger plane. That perhaps this man gets a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to him directly. Just perhaps he's above showing men his body. And it's unbefitting of a prophet and a messenger to be naked in front of someone else. Perhaps. But they just automatically negatively. And this is a concept that has plagued many of us. When it comes to our brothers in Islam, sisters in Islam, the very first thing we think is negative. The reason why Adam doesn't come to my class in Queens is because he's with the brothers that talk about me. I only see him once here and then. That's the only reason why. There's no other reason why he doesn't come. Negative. What to make an excuse for a mufti? Maybe he's working, maybe he's watching online, maybe his wife is sick, anything. No, he doesn't come because what? Something wrong. I'm Hizbi. And everybody says, think negative. Make an excuse for your what? For your brother. And don't rush to think negative about your brother. You don't know what's going on in his life. You don't know what he's thinking about, what he's going through. You don't know. So make an excuse for your brother. Everybody understand this? And don't be ignorant and don't be hasty. And the other ayats in the Quran that show us the stupidity and the foolishness of Bani Israel in many cases with Musa alayhi salam. How they were cowardly, they were scared, how they were greedy, how they were hasty, and how they disobeyed the commands of Musa and of Harun. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear this? And this is what the Quran says. Tayyib. This shows their characteristics. They were oftentimes, not all of the times, they were mean and base. And they were very narrow-minded. And they only looked at the tips of their nose. Everybody clear on this? And that is not how the Muslim is to be. That's not how the Muslim is to be. Muslim is supposed to be above this, to look beyond. The Muslim is to scratch beneath the surface. The Muslim is to think deeply. Everybody understand this? And there are other times in which you leave it, what? As it is. Leave it upon the surface. Khayr inshallah. Khayr inshallah. The hadith also shows us the power of Allah. Whereas he allowed the rock to run away. He allowed the stone. How did the stone run away? With legs? Did it fly? Did it move? Al-Muhim, the stone what? فَفَرَّ الْحَجَرِ. The stone ran. And it also shows once again the fiqh of Musa alayhi salam. How he knew that Allah made the rock go. He didn't ask how, what's going on. He ran what? He ran after the stone. Everybody understand this? It wasn't that this man got revelation from Allah. It wasn't nothing what? Strange. What is a rock moving and running? That's what? That's nothing. That's what? That's nothing. The Red Sea split for him. Whether it was before this or after that. It's nothing for him. The stone ran. That wasn't his instinct. Subhanallah, his instinct was to cover his aura. Allahu Akbar. How is this rock moving? What about Bani Israel? That wasn't the first thing. The first thing he thought about was Thawbi ya Hajar, Thawbi ya Hajar. Which goes to show you once again the status of this man and of the Muslim. Is that you have to think about this first. It's a fire. It's something outside. I'm uncovered. The first thing I'm going to do is grab something to wrap up in. A towel, something. I can't just run after you butt naked. Everybody understand this? Cover yourself, then you what? Everybody clear on this? Musa لم يستغرب في نار الهجر وإنما طلب الثوب. Subhanallah. طيب. Moving forward. Says here. طيب. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop here with regards to these two hadiths. There are many other fawaid that we want to get into. Perhaps with regards to the awrah and the refutation of some of the ignorant, stupid people who say that you can be a homosexual in Islam, and there's no proof saying that it's haram to be a homosexual. If you like men, if you like women, that's fine, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that in Islam. And the people of Lut were destroyed because of they cheated, because they were highway robbers, or because they said they raped men. People said this. That's why Allah destroyed them, because they raped men. As far as if the men gave themselves willingly, if they had tenderness and affection for other men, that's fine. It's natural. Allah destroyed them because they were doing it against the men's will. So how did Musa alayhi salam walk away with his thobe? He ran away from his thobe. He did not want to look at the awrat, and he did not want them to look at what? His awrah. Everybody understand this? In the other hadith that we'll get into, in Sahihain and outside of Sahihain, with regards to the impermissibility, لا ينظر الرجل إلى عورة إيش؟ الرجل. ولا المرأة إلى عورة إيش؟ المرأة. Everybody understand this? لا يفضي الرجل, not to touch a man's awrah, not to look at a man's awrah. If the Prophet says, do not look at a man's awrah, how can you say it's okay to be a homosexual, to touch another man and kiss another man and lay with another man? Sodomy or not, regardless, that's because that's a different argument. How can you say that? The Prophet says, don't look what? At a man's awrah. And you're saying it's okay for you to. Where's the fiqh? Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your speech. Don't lie upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah says in the Quran, فَيُسْحِتَكُمْ إِيش? بِعَذَابٍ. So Allah will punish you. وَقَدْ خَابَ. Those who make lies about Allah will what? Lose. So don't lie about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the most dangerous thing in the time in which we live. As it states in Hadith of Umar ibn Khattab, إِنَّ أَخْوَفَ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَى أُمَّتِي كُلَّ مُنَافِقٍ عَلِيمَ اللِّسَانِ. The most dangerous thing upon my nation, the thing that I fear most, is a munafiq who is eloquent. And someone that can speak, someone that can talk. A doctor, mufti, imam. He's interviewed by CNN, BBC, this Al Jazeera, and he's a gay imam. And not only is he gay, it's my own problem, my own issue, it's how I was born, perhaps, maybe. But now to say that it's permissible and there's nothing wrong with it and it's okay. La ilaha illallah. Wallahu alam.